Hi, Harit. How are
Hi
you doing?
Ravish, good evening. How are you? I'm
I'm
fine.
doing fine. Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you for
wonderful.
asking.
Uh, could you introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Kumar Ravish, and I'm a working professional. I've done my
Okay.
master's, like MBA in HR, and yes, I'm on Clapingo to speak to different speakers, just to brush up
Hmm.
my conversational skills.
Okay, and where are you from?
I am basically from Bihar. However, I'm putting up in Noida at, currently.
Okay, and your accent it's very different. Very like a native speaker. I thought you must have been living for many years in a foreign country.
Oh, that's actually not, but yes, that could be one of the reasons, because I have been speaking to Americans, and
Uh,
that's a part of my job. So maybe that has got imbibed from there.
yeah, yeah, your accent it's very good, very good.
Thank
Uh,
you.
well, okay, well, so what was your motive behind joining Clippingo? Like, was there
Just to
anything that you
brush
felt
up,
your attention on? Yeah.
just to have word with professionals and, speak with our Indian speakers and learn
Mm.
from them. Yeah, and yeah, my second purpose of joining Clappingo is I have started my YouTube channel. That's
Okay.
the reason, yeah, I upload these videos, these conversational videos, and
Okay.
yeah, probably that's my second reason why I joined Clappingo.
Okay. And
Yeah,
that's wonderful. Well, so what I will do is I will just ask you some random questions to begin with, and we'll see what we are working with. Okay.
sure. But before that, I would like to know something about you.
Yeah, sure. Well, so my name's Harith, as you already know. I'm from Alwar, Rajasthan,
Okay.
and I did my bachelor's from Delhi University. I lived there for 4 or 5 years, and currently I'm in Alwar, back in Alwar, where living with my family. As for my professional life, I'm currently learning a few languages. I learned Italian in the past, and I'm learning French right now. Yeah, and I'm at this job. I'm treating it as a full-time job.
Okay. So Clappingo is your full-time opportunity
Yeah, for now it is kind of like
for
a
now.
full-time job for me.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Wonderful. Perfect.
Uh, so, is there any other question that you would like to ask me, or should we start?
Okay, so certainly I would like to ask questions for sure,
Okay.
but yes, before that, I mean, are we going to stick with the topic, or we'll be discussing something else?
So perhaps I will just like asking you a few random questions, and perhaps we can move towards the topic also. Well, if you want, we can stick right to the topic itself. Well, you can tell me.
I am fine with either ways, but before that, I would like to hear from you, since
Okay.
you mentioned that you've been working on some of the languages, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, so I would be talking especially about English.
Hmm.
Like, help me understand how is your journey so far when that comes to learning English? How is your journey actually? If you can tell me
Okay.
a little.
Yeah. Regarding English, my there's not much to learn from my journey, since the thing is that I was in an English medium school, and so that was something that contributed to my comprehension of English. And of course, after that, it just happened all of us, little by little. The thing is that first I became interested in books and reading books, and so I kept on just reading. Kumar, are you there? Can you hear me?
Mhm. Yes, I can hear you. Absolutely. I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay.
I
Okay.
can hear you. Yes.
Yeah. So your this video got stuck. That's why I was confused.
Okay.
Well, anyway, so what I was saying is that I started reading books. I got interested in
Hmm.
reading books, and not for improving my English skills, just because I wanted to read them. And by and by, I read hundreds of books. So that was one thing, and
Amazing.
thank you. And after that, I just started watching sitcoms. So both the things that one can do for learning English, I did them, not with the objective of learning English. That's why I said in the beginning that there's not much to learn from my journey, because I wasn't actually trying to learn English. It just happened sort of. So I was reading books, I was watching sitcoms, and by it happened.
Okay, so I think looks like you've recently joined Clapingo, right?
Yeah, it's been around 2 months. Yeah.
2 months. Okay. So, yes, I just wanted to know what do you suggest to someone, say beginners? Because as you mentioned that you did not have to struggle too much when it comes to English as a language, because throughout, you have done all your probably you've done all your classes. I mean, all your classes
Hmm.
and medium was actually English,
Hmm.
so that did not trouble you too much when it comes to conversation
Yeah.
or say English as a language. So,
Hmm.
what do you suggest somebody who is, say, beginners or
Hmm.
of intermediate level? How what would be your suggestion in order to improve their conversational skills or say
Hmm.
English as a language?
Okay. Um, well, so usually whenever any of my learners asks me this question, I pick up from my experience of Italian and French rather than from my experience of English, because the thing is that as far as the beginner intermediate level are concerned, I do know about these from my own studies. I'm there a
Okay.
learner myself, and since I'm also a teacher, I always try to observe these things, analyze my own progress from
Hmm.
the point of view of a teacher also. Well, so usually what I suggest to all my learners is pretty much the same thing. At the beginning, it's basically about listening and reading comprehension. The thing is that these are the two languages that which give you an intake of a language. These are the two skills which give you an intake of the language, and that's why at the beginning it is crucial. It is fundamental that one actually focuses on them. It is that one should also keep on speaking, keep on practicing his spoken English, so that they don't lag behind in that. But yeah, as far as the beginning is concerned, it is mainly with listening and reading and short stories and listening, beginner level audio clips, beginner level video clips. People, what they do is the most common error that I've seen people making is that whenever they are in the beginning, they start by reading newspapers or watching sitcoms, and that isn't how it works. So they have
Okay.
to start with the beginner level or perhaps the intermediate level, whichever level they stand on, and based on that, they have to comprehend these things. They have to have an intake of a language as much as possible. Apart from that, all the little things, they can be worked out. If there are some grammatical errors, that doesn't matter. They can be worked out. They can be weeded out in no time. So that is the two things I usually tell my learners.
How about those who are, say, for example, the medium is Hindi, right? Somebody who comes from a Hindi medium background
Hmm. Hmm.
and wanted to learn language,
Hmm.
particularly English as such, what would be your suggestion? Because I understand where you're coming from. Like
Hmm.
you have to comprehend things. Comprehension comes when you understand the language a little bit, even if you are
Yeah.
not fluent or intermediate
Hmm.
level. Then you must have the knowledge of it. At least you are able to understand the language a
Yeah.
little bit, not thoroughly, but yes,
Hmm.
you have got the better understanding of the words and vocabulary and everything, right? And a little bit of
Hmm.
grammar as well. So my question to you is, what would be your take when that comes to helping people out who comes from Hindi medium background? Any suggestion from you?
Okay. Just one little thing. People who come from, people is a plural word.
Or did
So
I
don't
say
say come.
people comes from?
Yeah, comes from.
Oh, I'm sorry if
Uh,
yes,
yeah,
probably that is
people
something
come
which I
from.
made a mistake then. Yeah, sorry,
Okay.
sorry about that.
Uh, well, so no trouble. Well, so what I said, exactly the same answer I'm going to give you now also. Like I was talking about my French and Italian, right? So the thing is that right from our first class, our teachers were speaking in the target language. Like right from the beginning, our teachers were actually speaking in French. They never used English. It seemed like they actually didn't know English. And at
Mhm.
once I was actually quite scared. How am I going to learn from them? They cannot actually communicate with us, and throughout they've never used English. The thing is that when you're learning a language, perhaps it's been quite a long time since you also were a beginner in English, that's why you might not
Right.
remember it. Yeah, but the thing is that for learning these languages there is a lot of content right for the beginner level. Even in the beginner level there are certain stages, some where we come across the first stage is that of an elementary level, and that is
Hmm.
usually the kids stuff. For example, when you are a beginner, start by listening to very simple audio clips like days of the week and little by little conversations regarding your daily routine, and so on and so on. Very little conversations. This is how our books are made in Italian also, in French also. So we start by reading French. We start by talking in French, speaking in French. So it is how it works. It seems very difficult at first. How am I going to understand this if I don't know the word? but you do. I don't know what magic it is, but you do. Little by little, you do. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thanks for answering to my question.
Well, now can I ask you some questions?
Absolutely. Please go ahead.
Okay. Well, so were you from a Hindi medium school or an English medium?
My background was English medium for
Okay.
sure. But yes,
Hmm.
I was not that fluent. I remember, when I was in school, I was not that confident when it comes to conversational skills or speaking
Hmm.
with people, right? With teachers.
Yeah.
I was able to understand them very well, I would
Hmm.
say. But yes, when that comes to speaking, I was a little reluctant initially, but I worked on it. I worked on my vocabulary and grammar and everything. As I mentioned, I was okay, or I would say I was scoring very good when that comes to, the grammatical portion, or say the grammars, and then
Yeah.
sentence structure, and then
Hmm.
there are so many things in grammar, right? The preposition, conjunction, and everything. So I
Yeah.
was fair. I was good at that. I was okay
Hmm.
when that comes to the grammars and everything. But when that comes to conversational skills, I was actually
Hmm.
lagging behind. I was not that big. I was not that good at when that comes to conversation.
Yeah, I know.
So yeah, I worked on it, and I think I'm still working on it for sure. And that's why I'm here. And yeah, that's how it is.
Okay. And your other speakers, what sort of feedback have they given you so far?
I think they've said good about that, good about
Yeah.
my skills.
Yeah.
Yeah, even if you can take a look at it, I believe I don't have access to that. Probably you might have that.
Yeah.
The access to the feedback and everything. So
Hmm.
people, say good about it. So yeah,
Yeah, exactly. I'm guessing it's always obviously a positive feedback.
yes,
Well, in any case, so I will just ask you some random questions as I said before.
sure.
Okay. Um, well, so since you lived in Bihar, and obviously Bihar, Delhi, they are some of the states which have to see a lot of crime rates, have to see a lot of crimes. Well, so what do you think? What drives people to crimes? How can we reduce that?
Okay. So certainly, what my take would be on this is again an issue, and that
Hmm.
can be prevalent at in any state. Talk
Hmm.
about
Yeah.
Bihar, talk about Uttar Pradesh, even talk about our capital Delhi, and then so many other states, right? And crimes are there already. It's just that when things get highlighted, maybe through different medium or
Hmm.
channels or whatever ways, right? So looks like the crime rate is a little higher, and if we compare the one state with other, right?
Hmm.
But answering to your question, how we can control, or probably how we can make sure that it gets reduced. What can be the steps that we're supposed to work on, right? So
Hmm.
one thing, and first and foremost thing that comes to my mind is the governance. I believe because the policymakers or academicians, whatever you call it, or probably
Hmm.
the politicians, they've got all the right. They understand the situation very well,
Yeah.
and they have the power. And if they would think that I have to make things clear and crime free, or say if he or she thinks about making any state crime free, or
Hmm.
probably can get the crime rate reduced, I believe they can certainly do. They've got all the rights and they've got all the powers, actually. That's the one thing. And then second thing that comes to my mind is the awareness. The people should also, I mean, without people, I think it is not possible. Even if the government will make sure anything, if he or she does, right, in
Hmm.
order to make things, say towards a development side, right? So that
Okay.
wouldn't be possible without the cooperation of the people of the state,
Hmm.
right? So even that is, awareness is very important, and people have to realize that if there is a crime, we have to come upfront, and we have to be proactive in order to make sure that the rates are a little lower, as if we compare with the other states. So
Hmm.
these two things, I think, can make a state great when it comes to law and orders and maintaining, making your efforts in order to lower down the
Hmm.
crime rates. Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I
Well,
think. Yeah.
yeah, got your point. So, according to you, in what sense can the awareness be? Can we increase this awareness? When you were saying the point, was there a particular incident, a particular crime in your mind that you thought people are not that aware about it?
Awareness is not the, awareness, I would say, it's just not, the things that you hear or see, right?
Hmm.
You have to be proactive when that comes to reacting on or responding to a
Yeah.
situation.
Hmm.
That's very important because hearing and listening and probably looking things and then ignoring, that's something which happens everywhere, right? And people
Yeah.
are m- my definition is something different when it comes to awareness.
Hmm.
You know the repercussions, right? What could happen. You understand, if that happens, if crime happens, what could be the repercussions, what could be
Hmm.
the how people will get affected out of this, right? And you have to
Okay.
be proactive in order to make sure that you take the steps proactively. Go to
Hmm.
the police, report them, show your courage to report them, right? That's the important thing is that you if crime is happening and you are just say an audience
Hmm.
observing things but not reacting at all, so probably that would not work, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. So the awareness is regarding, how we should actually act against these things. So if let's say a certain
Absolutely.
cyber crime happens, that is one of the type of crimes of which we know very little about. If a cyber crime actually happens, whom we are to report to, or where are we to go,
Correct.
what all we are to do,
Correct.
such things, of course, if we can increase our awareness in that, that is a very good point that you raised. This one word, you pronounced it. Can you pronounce it again? I wrote it on chat.
Repetition.
Yeah, the pronunciation I've heard is that of repercussions. Is that repercussions?
No,
Repercussions.
what I said is it's a repetition.
Oh, yeah. So this is the word you were saying, right?
Yes.
Ah, okay. So perhaps it might be so that the British pronunciation is such, and the American might be different. So perhaps I will check after the session, and you can too. So it's just that the pronunciation I've heard is repercussions.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure, please.
Uh, yeah. We'll be around more than a minute left. So if you don't have any questions, we can just move ahead with our conversation.
Absolutely, please go ahead.
Okay. Well, so are there any pet peeves that you have? Things that annoy you?
Things that annoy me.
Hmm.
Okay.
So yeah, the word I used is pet peeve. So what it means is that a little thing that annoys you very much. To other people, it might annoy them a little bit, but to you, it annoys far more.
I think, when I see people very talkative and making no sense at all, right?
Uh,
That actually annoys me very much because I
hmm.
hear us, there are people who talk too much, and that too
Okay.
all, I would say sometimes nonsense, complete nonsense, and you
Hmm.
realize that these words are whatever he or she is saying, that it does not make much sense. So in that case, I feel annoyed a little. Okay, so let me hear it from you. What would be your take? I mean, what do you think about it?
Okay. So this particular point that you raised, of course, that is also something that I do hate. There are other things like I don't like when people spit on the road, or
Okay.
when they throw trash. Just there's a dustbin right ahead of you, and yet the
Uh-huh.
person will just throw the garbage right on the street. That's something that I really hate.